Alright, let's get her going. Will one of those emotions be arousal? I'm afraid not. Oh, right, my camera's jacked up. Hang on. Let me fix that real fast. I did end up having to restart my entire computer. I could not fix it. Nothing I did seemed to work. So, and every time I do that, my my camera breaks. I have to reset it. Okay. Hello. How's it going? We're playing this. Sorry for the late stream, by the way. My parents just got back from camping, and I was like in the middle of making dinner, and so like everything kind of piled up at once. There's actually a big tree. The biggest tree in our backyard fell down on Sunday, and that is now a cleanup job that has to be done at some point. And I also have an appointment at like 2 o'clock tomorrow that I had to call and register for because it's at the hospital. So I was like, fuck. So everything kind of piled up at once, but we're here. You have one of those escort leave quests. I hate them. Oh yeah, some of the leave quests are super annoying. I haven't done any in a while, but there's a reason I don't do them very often. One, because the rewards are kind of trash, and two, they're annoying, and I don't like them. Anyways, need to farm levels. I don't know what else to do. If you're farming levels, your best bet is to do dungeon runs, because I believe they up the EXP reward for those. Do you have access to leveling queue? You're a leveling or leveling roulette. I assume you've done that already, but that'll be the best bet to get levels. No idea, to be honest. It'll be if you hit U, it should be like the first thing that pops up, which is the duty finder. And those are your dailies effectively. They'll give you an increased XP. So every time you want to level up, you do those, and then if you really want to power level, then you just queue in directly for the dungeons, which is less XP, but still gives you a decent amount. You do have it? Okay, cool. So yeah, do that first. That'll give you usually at least a guaranteed level. I think at your level, maybe more? I forget if the army bonus applies to stuff. Anyways, we're playing Great Ace Attorney. I'm gonna move this over here preemptively because I know I'm gonna have to later. There's probably good. That's healing it. Do I still get bonuses if even though I'm DPS? Yes. That is the adventurer in need. That's the role that is currently queuing the least, and if you queue in as that role, you'll get a bonus on top of what it already gives you. Usually it's healer or tank. Every once in a while you see DPS for some bizarre reason. Just an incentive for people to play those roles. Alright. We're on episode 3. We're still on the investigation because we didn't finish because it was really long. I don't know what we have to do. Do we have to move? Oh, right. There's a fortune teller that Herlock Sholmes went and is talking to. We gotta talk to her now. Max level in free trial is 60? Yes, for the next 2 months. And then in October it will be bumped up to 70 once Stormblood gets added. What level are you right now? Because you're still finishing A Realm Reborn, right? So you're probably like near 50? Yeah, 47. Okay, so there you go. Like usual, if you want levels, do the MSQ. If you can't do the MSQ, then you will need to farm levels. But usually the MSQ gives you all the XP you need. Yeah, that's close to the end of ARR, or at least the base game. You still have all the patch content to go through, which does take a while, but it's not as bad. Next MSQ is 49. Okay, yeah. I recall that happening to me when I was playing A Realm Reborn. I had to like do a little bit of level grinding, which didn't happen after A Realm Reborn. Like everything after that was, I had more than enough level wise. But Yeah. It's ahead of the MSQ, but it caught up and they got ahead. Yeah, I think A Realm Reborn's quest levels are a little wonky. But they iron it out later. And then yeah, you go to the patch content. You will have to do the Crystal Tower storyline because that is required as of Shadowbringers. Which is kind of a boring storyline, but it's not super long. A little tedious. And then yeah, the patch story for A Realm Reborn is really good. And then you get to Heavensward, which is it takes a little while to get going, but then it's really good. Everything's all uphill. Sounds like it's more of a slog, but it is all uphill. After really about like the champion of heroes or like the heroes party or whatever the fuck they called. Once you get past that, that's the real slog, and it really it gets easier after that. Anyways, 22nd of October, Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxworks. I'm a slog? Oh no, that's not good. I don't want to be a slog. What is happening here? Who is this? Wow. What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes. But why are all the people so still? Guillotines, ruthless murderers. I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight.
They're all wax models. They're amazingly realistic, aren't they?
Wax Museum, you got it.
What do you think, Bruno? Shocked?
I have a feeling these guys over here aren't wax models. Ooh, wax models? Ah! I read about dead bodies in wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. Oh yeah, corpse wax. I know about that. From Skyrim, I think, weirdly enough. I like watching people in Limsa. There's so many glamour fiends and spam messages. It's fun. Limsa is fun. It's cursed, but it's fun. There's a lot of people who have really good glamours, so it's fun to get ideas from them. It's called a Oedipusir. Oedipusir? Is that right? I've never seen that word before.
Stop talking about creepy things like that, Bruno. You're scaring me. Anyway, Oedipusir doesn't form readily, you know. It's only in very specific... Ah! What now? Shut up.
I just remembered something else I read in another magazine about strange phenomena. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display. I do also love how Big just yeets Wedge into his robot. Oh yeah, Biggs and Wedge are fun. They really don't show up after A Realm Reborn. Sid as well, like, the whole Garland Ironworks kind of goes AWOL after A Realm Reborn. They show up like once in Heavensward, and then that's kind of it. Which, I mean, is a little weird, but... oh well. You get a lot of other characters to see, so I guess it doesn't matter that much. They show up from time to time. I guess it's just like, it's hard to make them really important in a lot of cases, just based on what's going on in the plot.
None of the exhibits in here are real. They're all entirely man-made replicas.
Hey, they can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them.
Oh!
There's no way anybody could make models of people that are this realistic. And they're all such gruesome scenes. And God, they're so hideous. Like, look at that gross, like, detective-looking guy. God, I might vomit. This could be it. I might upchuck here. Wait.
What is it?
Oh. No. I must be seeing things. White armor lady kicking that leaf fairy was based back when she kidnapped what's her name. I know exactly what scene you're talking about, and you're 100% right. That was Livia, I think her name is. And yeah, I remember that kick. It was seared into my mind. It was rad as fuck. Like full back roundhouse. I'm sorry. Is that a... That doesn't seem right. I would have done the same thing. Yeah, anybody in proximity to Minfilia deserves to get roundhoused. Is this an arm? Have I talked about how much I hate Minfilia? I do, deeply. That's really all we're gonna go into it.
It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of those Waxworks models has fallen over.
She seems so basic. She also does nothing but get captured. Like, she literally doesn't do anything except get kidnapped. She has a very annoying part in the story. You don't think you could be working one of those mass murderers in here, do you?
Bruno, stop scaring me.
Is it a wax arm or a real one?
Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm now and see how it feels.
Objection! Alright, I guess we're not gonna discover what the fuck that is. Hey, this is all super cool, but Holmes? I mean, Sholmes? It's... the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really?
Well, he is well famous after all.
An uncanny resemblance, isn't it? Except way uglier. I mean, uglier than normal. I could just, like, I want to punch it. I'm gonna moosh it into a ball. Seems like the exposition dump character. Yeah, she gives, like, a lot of exposition. She also just, like, doesn't do jack shit. She gets captured, you have to go rescue her. She adds nothing to the story, really. It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? It makes my skin crawl to look at it.
I know. But look, Bruno, you can kick this Hurley, and he doesn't move a muscle.
You can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris. Yeah, fucking... oh, God! It was in the liver. Oh, she kicked me in the liver. Wait. It just moved, I'm sure. And not just a little bit, either.
Really? Did it?
I'm just standing around in Limsa and someone's talking to me. What do? Panic. Fucking call a GM. They called me a little waffle cat. I'm scared. This is what happens in Limsa, man. You gotta get out of there. Fucking just run. Just pick a direction and go. And look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look! There's a great murder scene to enjoy. Much more appealing.
My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent.
Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, calling Mr. Sholmes. I knew it!
Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo.
Temporary waxwork? What do you mean?
And that kick! Could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me. But Bruno has something he needs to ask you. Ah, a question. And I thought you'd probably be getting bored, too. So here we are.
It's working again? What was meant to get broken? Who knows? We'll never know! I fucking had to restart my whole computer. And then it worked. It's the same thing that always fixes it. It's annoying as hell. Apparently, if you reinstall DirectX 11 that's supposedly included with the game files, it fixes it. But those files aren't there, I checked. Memory leak? No, because it's like, it runs fine, and then out of nowhere, it'll just not launch. Like, it'll launch, but it'll be a black screen. I think it's like, I think it is something to do with the DirectX. Like, it's not initializing properly, but I don't know how to fix it. I was looking at some armors, and on Google, if there's a GIL cost in shops, it shows it as USD. Oh. Weird.
Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that. And my great brain upon which all my success has been built would have turned to wax.
Thank goodness we arrived in time.
Indeed. In many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss.
We should have Sholmes look at it. He's a great detective after all. He would end up telling me that it's a skill issue, and then Ryunosuke would have to come in and be like, "You fucking idiot. Here's what the real problem is." Only on Google, like, it says something like sales price. Oh, I see. So like the Google, like, trying to figure out the actual price of it without having to go to a web page just shows up on the search page. That's kind of funny. Yeah, it treats it like a real cash value. That's yeah. So you go in there, it's just like, oh yeah, this piece of armor costs $3 grand US. That's funny.
Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you?
You could know something, it's true. About Lord Van Zeeks and what happened in the past to change him.
Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For your luck, I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing.
Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry.
If my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. Most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken.
Has Maskman been revealed yet? No. Oh, my camera's shaking. That's the, sorry, we're going through an earthquake. It's the washing machine is on like full spin and my camera's freaking out. It's bouncing up and down. Can I like... No, it's just really like I have to hold it. There's no other way to dampen it. That's pretty funny. That washing machine really spins. Really goes. I can't, I mean, besides holding it, it's just gonna be like this. Yeah, I'm fucking ascending right now. Turn that into a GIF. Really?
Moreover,
Camera's drunk.
I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter about which you've come to me now.
But how could it be?
We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow, but for now I must return to my work.
What, back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? Oh yeah, the Masked Man has not been revealed yet. We haven't seen them since last time. Madame Tussauds. I'm assuming that's a reference to Madame Tussauds. Yep. You can do just about anything that isn't instanced content while you're waiting for Q. Pretty nice. What is this place?
Madame Tussauds came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London.
There are museums like this in Japan, too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they?
The extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular secret of the Tussauds family, they say.
Is the scene that was he was standing in supposed to be Jack the Ripper? I think so. I can't see it right now, but I believe that's the case. Wax museums scare me. I've never been to, but they seem weird.
They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guillotine.
Ugh, that sounds grim.
The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned. Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the site of the executions.
That really turns my stomach. Yeah, it's like a peak Uncanny Valley.
That's just one of several legends about the Tussauds family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum by quite some margin is this House of Horrors.
My cousins made me watch House of Wax, a pretty shitty horror movie looking back when I was a kid. And kid me couldn't handle horror movies like now me. Oh yeah. There were a lot of things that as a kid like scared me, even though they were like no big deal. I forget what movie it was. There was one particular movie that like really spooked me. And it was like not a scary movie, but there was like one part of it that scared me. Oh, I can't remember what it was now. Anyways, the House of Horrors.
Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition, but people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals of the gruesome work, at their gruesome work.
Snakes on a Plane scared me as a kid. I think I was like a teenager when Snakes on a Plane came out. And I never watched it.
Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows, but they're even stiffer now than the models of them. Ha 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 ha!
Have you heard of Poor Taste?
My dear fellow, the public lives for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked.
So, the hideous exhibits in here are...
They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place.
it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop? I think it was like 6. Came out in 06. Okay, so I wouldn't have been a teenager. I would have been... I would have been 10.
Anyways, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here.
Oh, he's back being waxwork, is he? Alright. What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes?
Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act.
I'm 12 or 13 when that came out. Yeah, I think I was 10, and I don't think I really knew about it much until like junior high. So like a few more years. Catching them.
Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare him. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us.
Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes?
I'm broke as fuck. My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money,
Okay. I was kidding. You really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors.
As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous iris to consider. Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry.
She's a growing girl.
If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruhodo.
He threatening to rope me into now. I think a waxwork come to life in front of your eyes would be terrifying. Oh yeah, that'd scare the shit out of me.
So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours.
Maybe some other time.
Well, remember, Mr. Naruhodo, ignore me at your peril.
Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark there sound a lot like a curse? Alright, anyways. Now for the actual plot.
Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then?
Actually, it's about Lord Van Zeeks. Get the picture, you plebeian. If I had the option, I would.
Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust.
You'd say that? And so I filled in Mr. Sholmes about everything I'd learned. About Lord Van Zeeks, about Professor Harebrain, and about the strange coincidence that they had been at the university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zeek such a different person.
I was sure that you'd know, Hurley. He was bitten by a vampire. Actually, very simple.
You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before, that something was afoot, and that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes?
Yeah, multiple vampires. He got gangbanged by vampires. It was really hot, but like kind of fucked up still.
He suddenly clammed up.
Well, it seems we've reached the unavoidable...
Greetings. Oh, is this Madame Two Spells? Oh, it absolutely is. Oh, she's cool. Oh, hello. Where did she appear from? And what's she wearing? Did she look any more mysterious? Ooh, hello.
I hope you are appreciating my museum.
Sorry, have we... Mr. Sholmes, do you know that... Not again.
My apologies. I'm Esmeralda Two Spells. This is my museum of waxwork.
But you're the Madame Two Spells?
Bien sûr.
Oh, I guess she's French.
Bien sûr. Though only 26 years young, I might add.
I don't have a really good French accent, so I apologize in advance. Is that significant somehow?
I'm a madame name only. It has a certain je ne sais quoi.
Right. Was the witch hat not enough to tell you? Yeah, you think you'd be able to figure it out.
Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular.
That'll be Mr. Sholmes, then.
I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle.
Oh my god. That's molten. Jesus. There's the feeling of white hair and the fact that Waffle's a fucking psychopath for liking it. Agreed. And he should be punished legally and physically. I remember Bartholomew's French accent. Oh, I do actually, very vaguely. I also remember his southern accent when we played Ace Attorney. Accent work is not his strong suit. Yeah, either or. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble. Oh god. Yes, it is fun. It's entertaining. That is for sure.
You sound deadly serious.
That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zeeks now?
Let's not forget what Hurley said before. About something being afoot. Right here in the museum, I mean.
Yes, I know, but...
I'm so curious. I want to know what's happening here.
Haven't we got enough on our plate already? Alright. I guess we're talking to you now. Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Tispels?
I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans, as you know. Gosh! Golly gee! Holy fuck! It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Their fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. But that is, when she acquired the savoir-faire that led to this astonishing lifelikeliness. But these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modeled, in the hours immediately following their executions. That is the secret to the extraordinary lifelikeness.
Calling them dead-eyed, yeah. That sounds terrifying.
All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. And to carry out one trade's par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see.
Ugh. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying?
Do not fear.
Sorry?
This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Something for every taste, I hope.
It was Iris who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it.
Sorry, I like looking at dead people. Perhaps I should have eased you into things.
Alright. So you let him do this, huh? What's the situation with that?
Ah, my temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal.
Oh, what sort of proposal?
I'm broke as fuck, please help. My dear madam, with what these sparse exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective. Or words to that effect? Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective.
It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it.
Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms.
Let me guess, someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services.
For a mere £500? I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment.
Okay.
Or words to that effect.
Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch.
Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment, due to unforeseen circumstances.
What a crazy bridge. I think Sholmes is the crazy one here.
So we came to the current arrangement instead.
Well, he doesn't really need to do what he's doing, though, does he? I do mean Sholmes? Okay, fair.
I would think so, but he was very insistent. I have a 50-shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning.
He literally wanted to be wax.
Or words to that effect. It's the pawnbroker, that's what it is. He must have something to redeem.
Is the consulting detective work not going so well? You can get away with crazy if you're cute enough. Unfortunately, the case. But there has to be a market for that sort of thing, which is, you know, if people are buying, what's the point of not selling? He is adorable. I wonder, could I ask you something? Yeah, Waffle's the perfect example. Bien sûr. I'm just curious, is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps? Whoever suggested such a thing to you? Oh, well, it was... your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a little...
God damn it.
Oh, he disappeared. Is this Sholmes?
A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade.
Ah. Yep. There you are.
Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working. Do you wish to be melted down? My dear Madame Two-Spell, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. Wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police. Why ever not?
His turn is white as a sheet.
Because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. And I also need you to put me in the pot. Though please be aware that I prefer, no, I insist upon payment in advance.
Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we?
Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain?
That is the Two-Spell's special exhibit. There's an extra charge to see it.
Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. You must have picked a special killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder?
Ah, absolutely no. There's nothing amiss behind there.
Nothing amiss, madame.
Now you're gonna have to solve it for him, aren't you? Every time.
What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? Ah! I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens.
Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only as a soup con. That is a convention for soup. I have no idea what the C in that shape is supposed to be. Soupçon? Soupçon? Oh.
I must confess I peeked behind the curtain earlier.
Think facade. Oh, okay.
Soupçon. The Two-Spell's special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer of one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however?
Oh.
Is the portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor.
Have we seen that character before? They look kind of familiar. Well then perhaps, Mr. Sholmes. That man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself.
I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman. Not even a waxwork, in fact.
What?
As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they are always distinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit. If you kick him, he grunts a little bit, he farts. If you step on him, it's louder. Why would you say that? And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime. Ah!
Looks as pale as candle wax.
I don't understand. So, Madame Tuspels, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. If you stomp on him, he plays music. Game is afoot.
All right, here we go. Topic 1. Waxworks Fate. I do love this theme.
To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in the museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some £200. That is all my money. My own money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Tuspels. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 is revealed by that public notice. Waxwork for sale? Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short...
The animations are good during the deduction, at least. Yeah, it's very animated. Very, like, a lot of, very dynamic.
You sold the infamous Kaler, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of £200. No! Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man with such a shocking blow was, of course, the £200. It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most effectively. What are you suggesting? You rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of £200. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what an extortionate amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result, the scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit fetched a killer price. I can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret.
Sold for cash. No, that guy in the ground is a real dude. He's just passed out.
The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief, such as worn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's policing awards. But next we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage.
I'm guessing he's the wax model. Yeah, one of them is.
I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork. Ah, but you... Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame.
He has a tag? Oh, he does, yeah, right there.
I noticed it at once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. Threepence, a tragically low price, you might say. Or perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant £200. Sort of rocky behavior that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madame? I do not. Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak.
Yeah, it's for the scarf, 100%.
The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon.
Waxwork location? Discovered already.
Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
I see I've stunned you all into silence. You have, Hurley, you have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot.
If I could just bring up 1 point, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, the notorious Naruhodo 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow.
According to your deduction, then, the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So that would mean that he's the particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it?
ACAB! Naruhodo, ACAB! The killer policeman, Ottermole.
Sorry?
There's a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the ether. Ah, he used flow. It's a forbidden spell, not used anymore because aetherite teleportation is much more safe.
Sorry, it's a weird that's a very specific FF14 reference.
And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Ottermole. Ottermole.
Hard to say in a British accent. You mean that's who the sinister old So you mean that's who... Jesus Christ, I don't know why I'm struggling with this. So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man there is supposed to be?
Indeed, it's a particularly grim face, is it not? Forgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well.
But is 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model?
It'd be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective.
So it is quite a lot then. Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down? That blowing wax is looking more and more ominous.
The smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me.
Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so... I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's alright. Make some minor corrections to the great detective's great deductions.
Of course it's alright. We'll soon set things straight.
Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Two Spells vents her anger.
Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Two Spells, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work.
Alright, jackass. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Alright. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by this bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds. That is all my own money. Yep. Large sum of money reveal. Not as much as the momentary glass you cast would seem, Madame Two Spells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. Merlot got a huge nose. Yeah, that's the Rogadan special. They all got big noses. They got some schnazzes. She definitely looked in this direction, it's true.
But I'm not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks, even for 200 pounds.
Oh?
She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything.
For that much money, I would. But it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyway. I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance.
Let's follow that furtive glance again and see if there's anything else that could explain it.
I mean, is it the dude? Oh, hello. Note on the wall. Whoops.
What's that note pinned on the wall there?
Oh, yes, let's see. Dear Madame Two Spells, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Have the money ready by noon on 23rd October.
What?
This is like the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped.
Yes, it's a ransom note.
I have 166k gil, but I have a feeling in the grand scheme of things that is nothing. I mean, it's not a bad amount of money. I I think usually, I mean, for the level you are, that's pretty good. Once you start getting to Heavensward, and if you need to buy gear from some of the vendors, like that usually goes for pretty expensive. But like you don't have access to any of the things that cost a shit ton of money, like housing. I had, I think, 4 million gil. No, I had 7 million gil. And buying a house knocked me down to 3, I think. Or 2 or 3. I think it was 2 after I actually started decorating it. But just buying the house knocked me down 4 million gil. So that's like the real money sink is there. Everything else, usually once you get like 1 million, unless you're into housing, you're pretty good. Unless you want to buy like some really expensive stuff off the market board. Exactly. Do I really not need to buy a house? No, because you have access to mine. I mean, the house doesn't really give you much. It's really just like a money sink of like, here's what to spend on. The only thing that you can't do without a house is chocobo stabling. But you have access to mine, so you don't have to worry about that.
Take that!
Oh, and if you want to like farm stuff as well, you need a house. But you can also join a free company, and the free company has its own house, and then they can also do that as well. Wanted a house I'd play Animal Crossing again. I've almost paid off my house loan by just not paying, or not playing. That's true. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that ransom note.
Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness, abducting a waxwork. Ah. 200 pounds is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it. The murder in question has special importance, so I put together all the money I have. In summary then, the 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman? Stretches loosely on the floor. It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Fortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. Yeah, which dealt the man striking blows, of course, the 200 pounds. Alright. So if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is? We could just ask him when he comes around.
I think the point of this exercise was to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris.
Yes, you're right. Herd is trying so hard, we mustn't let him down.
Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Dispel's trying to hide? Have a closer look around. Long hair braid? Oh, wait, what the fuck? Hang on. Is that her other hand? That's the wrong color of hand. Oh, she's holding a... Oh. She's holding an arm.
This is just Madame Dispel's right hand, isn't it?
Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand after all.
Oh, but wait a minute. This is a left hand as well, look.
Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please.
And it seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard.
You mean... It's made of wax. Alright, I don't know what else would be besides that, so...
Take that!
Yep. Fucking bopped him with a hand. What dealt the man such a shocking blow, of course? The waxwork hand.
Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow. How could you?
A hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but a closer inspection reveals that it is in fact a left hand. I like to imagine Minosuke is like walking around or staring at it from every angle, making everyone think he's a pervert, yeah.
Ah! And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madam. It is the hand of a waxwork model. Yeah!
Damn.
Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibits and cause damage.
So you mean that arm?
Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir. No small keepsake.
Like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms.
I'm afraid I had to teach the man a lesson.
You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back.
And the result, the scene we see before us. He was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being, we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer of this special exhibit has been kidnapped.
Is there going to be like a body double involved here? With all these waxwork models?
Give him a stern kick, he shits a little. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment. You cannot possibly... What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief.
I guess he might have the missing arm? According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other policemen that some crime is underway.
A way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes.
It's going to be a dude pretending to be a statue? That is also possible.
It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard.
Now, Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away.
While uncovering secrets is in any true detective's nature, of course.
Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Fispel's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. Yep.
Take that!
It was the same, the coat was the same color as the sleeve on the arm. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub.
No such boneless human walks this earth, of that I can assure you.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Toaster. I mean, it's because he uses an actual 3D model, whereas like a lot of the other wax statues are just regular images, so it kind of throws you off.
In other words, the man standing here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact, defying all odds, a waxwork model. I've checked every human for bones, they're all accounted for.
I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. Didn't notice that any of them were 2D. They only showed up for a second, it was kind of hard to see.
He's become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man. Naturally, what other explanation could there be?
And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor on the special exhibit, wasn't it?
Next, we turn our attention to the old man set before him with a particularly unsightly visage.
How many bones does a person have? A skeleton. Waxwork. Excuse me. Will confirm my suspicions. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. Price tag. Alright. A killer policeman called Ottermole, was it? Was he well known?
It was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price, though. Threepence isn't much money.
Only enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Garredip's delightful lodgings, in fact. So this is the special killer taken from the special exhibit. Is it? Waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds. Is this crusty old killer policeman Ottermole? Really?
Perhaps we should have a good look around again and see if another idea crops up.
Oh.
Take that!
Fucker's moving. It was this man who was real. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch. All my fault, stop murdering people, I just can't help it. Here I go killing again.
Even the most realistic waxworks do not exhibit a twitch.
Oh god, that gives me a terrible idea. What if like waxworks makers like started implementing like animatronics to like make them breathe slightly and make their eyes move and shit? I don't like that.
In other words, this splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard.
They already do that? Well, shit. I hate that. I don't like it. Light shift in your choice of adjectives, then.
And there you have it. Well, Madame Tuspels? Well, what?
It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in first, in the first place. Just don't go to a wax museum in England, then? I will not. Have you seen the guy that makes realistic flesh models? I believe he's Japanese, but he made like some fleshy dice. I've seen a couple clips of like objects made from flesh, but I probably don't know the guy you're specifically talking about. He's clearly fatigued, he is sound asleep. But then, what's this tag about showing a price of 3 pence?
No doubt the price tag of the muffler, which the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market.
Have I seen Flesh Banana? No, and I don't wish to. You're gonna send it to me anyways, though.
And I presume you've observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruto?
Yes, the secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway.
Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such a criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning, Detective. So, it would seem that we finally arrive at the truth.
Oh, lab banana? Oh. The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped.
And Scotland Yard are already investigating.
Get no warnings for that link, click at your own risk. It's also an Instagram link, so I'm not going to click it because they have no volume controls and it's annoying.
But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
There's no audio? I still don't want to click on it. Still a mystery.
Elementary.
But it blinks? Gross. Alright, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna refill my water. And then we'll continue on. Let's see what the fuck is going on here. Alright, I'm back. Oh, I have wax on my shirt, that's right. I was cleaning up some of the tree that fell and I forgot to change shirts.
All sorts of people visit my museum here, men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly.
This accent's a mess.
Anyway.
Oh. I like her a lot.
Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe. It was a pleasure, my dear madam. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle.
She is cute.
And as for your rough customer, I've no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display, if it was indeed genuinely abducted. Yes, tragically it was. then I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork, in as much detail as possible, if you please. Very well, but after I've told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work. Talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel, but as you wish.
Alright. What's going on? Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please.
It was some days ago now when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that a waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. It is your permanent display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found the ransom note in its place.
A culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then. Your opinion of Iris has not changed, I see.
So this waxwork was stolen. That was stolen. It was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose. Of a particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor.
Not a name I've heard of. I would throw a lot of people out of windows. Fair. Defenestration is what that's called.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, it seems the circle is complete.
Yeah, she can be kind of annoying. She's not as bad as a lot of characters have shown up. But I get it. Sorry? I have a passionate hate for Sholmes. Yeah, I would say Sholmes is the more annoying one between the two, to be honest.
The Professor case happened at around the time I was born, didn't it? Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago now, a series of murders that rocked the capital.
Did I throw you out a window? I will not. 10 years ago?
Yes, at exactly the time that Barak von Zieks graduated from university, in fact.
At least it's funny to say he's Ryunosuke's gay lover. Fair. Doesn't make him any less annoying. What? Surely he's not saying.
So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life. As you surmised, it was the Professor case. The Professor case.
Who is this professor then? Interesting.
It was a series of gruesome murders that all of London gripped in a terror a decade ago. The 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death. And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent at present on account of the abduction.
I have a feeling we're gonna find the professor and it's gonna be like someone we recognize. But I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord Van Zieks?
You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the Professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest. What do you mean, Hurley? Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy. Members of the nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves through the country's administration.
Members of the...
Ah, wait, of course.
What Professor Harebrine said. Lord Van Zieks is from a family with noble blood.
Oh, gosh. It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of... Clint Van Zieks.
No, I don't believe it. Van Zieks.
I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Barak pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today.
I had no idea Lord Van Zieks had such a tragic past.
Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter, for the time being at least. After all, I have work to do.
Too many people of different time zones show up here. It's easy to mix up. Yeah. I mean, the fact that this stream is in Mountain Time is weird enough. Fucking nobody's in Mountain Time.
As a waxwork exhibit.
I like to think that he just does this and then just kind of like fucking shuffles out of frame.
I'm afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. I forget Mountain Time is a thing? Yeah, fair. Everybody knows it's like Eastern or like Pacific, and that's it. I'm nobody. Get your fucking ass at my doorstep so I can kick it, Lance. I know you're in there. You're one of the few people who's there. But like, out of all of the people I know, you're the only other one I know who's in Mountain Time. Yeah, PST, CST, EST. No, there's one in there. There's an extra one. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. Oh, was that 2 spells? Oh, this is, oh, it's Harebrained to Van Zeeks. Oh. Oh, God.
It's been too long, it really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barrack.
It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places.
I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Asmon. I just can't. I still can't believe it. It could happen.
Yeah, I've only ever met one other person in MST, which is Ultimate Fails. Tomorrow the court will decide.
Yes. I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though. It was an accident. A terrible accident. He assures me he can prove it.
I must warn you.
Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you?
Yes.
Since I returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Barrack, are you really?
What?
Never mind. I know that you have my best interests at heart.
My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else.
Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barrack.
I know someone that's in Pacific sometimes and Mountain others. Arizona does not participate in time zones. Oh yeah, Saskatchewan does that as well. They abolish daylight saving times, and I wish they would do it here. The mayor of Calgary wanted to get rid of the daylight savings. Yeah, that was going around for a while. I wish they would get rid of it. But, I don't know. There's a chance Saskatchewan got rid of it, so. Didn't pass? God damn it. Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court. To be continued. Okay. Wow, that's still like... We ended that spot like kind of halfway through a stream. Like, we didn't get it to be continued when we ended it. And it still took about 2 hours before we got here. Or about an hour and a half. Alright, that's a pretty good spot to end it on, though. We'll pick up next time with the first part of the trial. YouTube, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next part.